Hi guys, in this mini lecture we're going to be looking at the 10-mark question from the 2017 Education AQA paper. If we have a quick look at the item, it says, since the 1980s, a major aim of government policy has been to increase parental choice in education. There is now a wider range of school types, and league tables on school performance are also available. Increased parental choice has had many effects on pupils' experience of education. For a quick look at the questions, applying material from item A, analyse two effects of increased parental choice on pupils' experience of education. So remember, as I've mentioned to you, these questions always get you to link together two parts of the curriculum, okay? And in this case, it's educational policy, which is parental choice, and pupils' experiences of education. So you need to be talking about what goes on in schools, effectively. How does parental choice affect a student's experience in school? Like all of these other types of questions, you need to use two hooks in the question, and they are wider range of school types. There we go. Oops. Wider range of school types. Sorry, I've erased that. And also league tables. Those are your two hooks for this question. Some of you wrote points using parental choice itself as a hook. That's not a hook from the actual item, even though it does mention increased parental choice. That's actually the question, okay, because the question says increased parental choice. So you couldn't build a point around, if you like, what's mentioned in the question. It didn't really make much sense. So this is one of the strongest responses that I had. And what I really liked about it is it was really succinct. It was short. Some of you are writing far too much for these 10-mark questions. So let's have a read through, and I'll sort of explain my annotations, which can you add to your version if you've got one. One effect of an increase in parental choice may be due to a wider range of school types. Clear hook. They've put speech marks around it just to make it extra clear. It allows parents to let their children specialise. For example, a vocational/practical learner may achieve better or have a better experience in a specialised school, e.g. for sport or art, rather than go to an academic one where they might struggle to do well and enjoy school. So I would say that sentence is the application, okay? Because they start off talking about experience, but then they explain it, the fact that they would struggle to enjoy themselves, okay? So that's application as well. On the other hand, parental choice allows very academic students to opt to go to a grammar school or a maths specialised school. This means they'll be surrounded by similar students, which will help them work harder and achieve more and have a more academic experience. Again, it's not enough just to stick the word experience in, which some of you guys did. You had to explain it, okay? So in this one, they've clearly explained that they will, the experience will be different because they'll be around other students and able to work harder, about peer group. Altogether, I'd say that point is fairly analytical. Oh, that's my cat. Shush, Gabby. Okay, so that's a really strong first point. That point just by itself probably would have been strong enough to get about 6, perhaps a little bit more depth of analysis to get like 7 just for 1 point. However, it wasn't just 1 point, there was a second point as well, so I'll just move down to that one. Apologies for the wobbling. Slightly shorter point that you can sort of see from the offset, and I have said straight away in my feedback, if you look at the bottom, I've said one good analysis, which is the top point. Second point could have been more developed, so that's probably the slight weakness. So there's another effect of increased parental choice upon pupils' experience may be due to the league tables. Again, clear hook, which, as they can be publicly accessed, can then lead to a parent choosing a different school other than the local one for their child. This may result in the student having to leave their friends and have to travel far. And then this is the application. They may feel isolated at the new school, giving them a negative experience of education due to parents making their choice based on league tables. So I think that's enough application, okay, to say actually that's one of the negative impacts that league tables can have on an experience of education, because it talks about them feeling isolated there. So I felt that was strong enough application. Again, could have been more analytical. Would have been a 10 out of 10 if that one had been a little bit more analytical. But if you have a look at it, they haven't mentioned any key studies, which, you don't have to mention key studies to get into the top band, but it'd be useful. And like I said, it's quite nice and succinct. So this is kind of a good model answer for all of you to sort of think, actually, that's what you should be aiming for. It's clear structure: hook, analysis, application, hook, some discussion, and application. That's the structure you should be following. Okay. Many of you lost marks because you would discuss an argument about parental choice, but you wouldn't use the hook until later on in the point. And that meant the whole point wasn't really developed around the actual hook, which it needs to be. In terms of other problems, just to look out for, this might be something that went wrong with your one. It was the weakest question of all. Most student of you got 3 out of 10. Some of the good points you could have included would have been the fact that schools will be driven to improve league table position, which will create an A to C economy, which will lead to setting and streaming or additional pressure on students, kind of negatively affecting student experience, particularly if they're from a working class background. You could have also made a point about how league table position can affect funding to schools and linked it to the funding formula. But you need to make sure you're clear about how that affected students' experience of education. So you could have discussed how if a student went to a school that was low in the league tables, they wouldn't get as much funding from the funding formula, which meant there was a lack of resources in schools. Perhaps teachers weren't as good, and that would affect the students' experience of schooling in a quite a negative way. Another point you could have made again is students may actually experience a self-fulfilling prophecy depending on what school they go to. So if they know they're going to a school that's high in the league tables, that might give them a positive self-fulfilling prophecy. However, more than likely, if they know they've gone to maybe their second or third choice school, which is lower in the league table, they might feel like they are a failure. They might suffer the sort of negative self-fulfilling prophecy. And that might mean that they end up, forming subcultures, not try very hard because they've been labelled, or they feel that they've been labelled as failures because they haven't got into a very good school. Some students did talk about grammar schools. Grammar schools are not a feature of parental choice. Likewise, private education is not a feature of parental choice either. Okay, it's nothing to do with the parental choice system. That private education has always existed. And a number of you went into quite lengthy points on the extent to which all parents had parental choice using Gerwitz's study. And again, that had nothing to do with experience of education. You need to link that process to how that affected students when they went to school. And lots of you just described the fact that parents didn't make great choices, therefore their students didn't go to a good school and didn't have a good experience. Just saying that is not strong enough to apply it. Okay, so if you can add the annotations to this and then have a reflection on your own and see how you can improve to get the top marks, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.